My mind, gotta hustle and grind. Financial literacy always on my mind. I'm stacking knowledge, no time to waste. Gotta invest smart, gotta keep up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Reckless Ray Dinero, and we are back at it again. This is going to be the first of many special episodes, one of our monthly drops. What is it? It is our monthly financial update. So what we do is at the end of every month, I do end of month financials. Why do we do it? Because what is tracked is improved. Also, it lets you keep, well, it lets me keep a bead on my financial situation. And we have some key metrics that we break out every year. And like, these are my key metrics of things that I am looking at throughout the course of the year, over the years, over the decades, to make sure that I'm on the right track. Because obviously we are tracking our road, our ascent to the coveted millionaire status. With that said, these are the things that I am looking at, and we're going to go into each of the topics since this is the first episode over here on Future Financial Strategies of what I'm tracking and why. So we're going to do the breakdown. First and foremost, we've got net worth. The reason we track net worth is because that's the overarching game. It lets me know if my worth as a collective is improving. Now, me personally, I do not put much credence or weight on things that I consider dead assets. So for those of you who want to count your large house that you will never tap the equity on, that you will never sell, I don't really put much weight on that. I also don't put much weight on retirement accounts that you'll get severely penalized for accessing early. And a lot of people front load their 401k and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a millionaire. And then like they have to go to work every day. We're not trying to have to go to work every day. So like those are things that are not heavily weighted. I make sure that they are on the minimal side of my net worth. I need liquid assets. I need to be able to not have to go into this job as soon as possible. So we're not waiting until we're 65. So I don't really worry about the dead weight. I'm looking at my brokerage account. I'm looking at my crypto portfolio. I'm looking at, well, actually in my case, my house, but like once I clear my debt, I'm also looking at my debt because once the debt's cleared, we can start tapping into the equity and doing some bigger moves, some bigger plays. The next thing I like to look at is my savings percentage. Now, I stole this. Obviously, you chew the meat, spit out the bone from the FIRE movement people. They are very big on how much they're saving because if you're trying to retire early and achieve financial independence, you've got to save more than the average person. Most people are not even saving 10%. I am always looking at what my savings percentage rate is based on as a juxtaposition against every dollar that comes in from any source. So that's another one. Another one that I look at is credit. I do check my credit score. The reason being is because some of our future financial strategies that we use revolve around having good credit. I understand that rich people don't need to have good credit, but we are not rich yet. And accelerating our momentum and our movement into that wealth status to where maybe credit doesn't matter for us. Credit does matter if you're average or broke. It really does because it can help you get access to capital. When the money dried up for Wall Street, money did not dry up for Reckless Ray Dinero because I have good credit. So that's another metric that we track. Another one that I look at is the total saved. I like to see the total. That's an arbitrary one. That's me specific. I like to know how much I saved. It just makes me feel good. Like it's one of the few things that like I get to look at and be like, yeah, I did that. The other thing that I like to look at is my income, the total income. And what I'm tracking month to month is to see if it went up or down and why. those are things that I find interesting. And then one more that I've recently added on is I am actively tracking since we started this dividend portfolio is my dividend income. And I'm trying to make sure that that is also increasing every month, because that's the income that's going to be replacing my W-2 income, my paycheck income. So we're always looking at that to see how that's coming in and how we're utilizing it. Obviously, we have a debt load that we're attacking actively. But once that's gone, I like to know, like, as I'm building this income up, I'm like, okay, once we chunk that down, like, now I can start looking at how we're going to be redistributing this. So let's jump into the numbers. Let's see what we did. Okay, so starting off with net worth. Our net worth increased $15,547.07, which is awesome. Now, one of the things that we talk about, and one of my goals for the 2024 calendar year was to get up to $250,000 in net worth. We're flirting with the goal. We're getting around there. We really are. We're flirting with it, and I think we're going to hit it. I've got some pretty audacious goals for next year, but it's actually not that audacious, because my goals are realistically toned down, because a lot of my stuff is, most of my net worth is tied up in crypto, and most of my net worth is attached to that, so it's highly volatile. So during a bull run year, the audacious goals are audacious for a reason, because I'm projecting conservatively, obviously, that we're going to hit certain numbers. I'm going to get to touch these numbers, and then we're going to backtrack, and then I'm going to be building back up until certain numbers are stable. So getting to $250,000 in net worth is attainable, and after it's all said and done, like, we should be at that or above moving forward, barring tragedy happening. But we did increase that $15,500. Reason being is crypto pumped. I mean, obviously, we've been building up the income portfolio. We've been doing the investments. We've instilled a couple of things that I'm going to be doing videos on as well. But the gist of it is Bitcoin went up. Most of my net worth is tied to Bitcoin. So you can take a big jump in a month. Bitcoin moves up a few percentage points. My net worth moves up a few percentage points with it. Next, we're going to talk about savings percentage. Our savings percent this month was 45.81%, which I am super happy with. My stretch goal is 50. I want to save 50% of all income that comes in, which really isn't that hard. Actually, it is that hard. I'm not going to lie. Stuff's expensive. But still being able to, if I'm over 40, I'm doing better. Honestly, if I'm over 20, I'm doing better than most people. But obviously, I've got goals. I'm trying to make those metrics. Like, I will work hard until I don't have to work hard, but I don't want to work hard a minute more than I have to. So I like to see it over 40. There are some months where it's not going to be over 40, and then there's some months where it probably will be over 40, especially as we roll into the beginning of the year, because one of the things that we do with the income portfolio is we shut down distributing it out to manage the debt. We'll be just managing the debt off of W-2 income until tax season's over. Why is that? Because I'm probably going to have to pull from that income portfolio to also pay the tax bill. I'm assuming I'm going to have a tax bill moving forward since I have set this up. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be making too much money. I'm going to have to start looking at maxing out some of the saving stuff on the W-2 side because of my income portfolio. It's just going to be pushing me up. I'm making more income. And we've got to make the adjustment. This isn't lifestyle creep. So what we'll be doing for the first 3 months of the year through tax season is shutting down the distributions, which what are we going to do? I'm going to turn drip on everything. I'm just going to let the portfolio runneth over. And as that drip hits and keeps getting reinvested, and every month we keep getting a larger payout, when tax season comes around, I can either sell off assets to pay the taxes, which could be an option, or I can just take that income, provided we've kicked the income up, because the thing with the high yield dividends is if you let it reinvest and you reinvest all of it, you can ratchet your accounts up to where they're producing a high level of income very fast. Now, do I think that it's going to be the full 3 months and that's what it is? Well, since I started this partway through the year, this started in August. No, but I have made a good amount. So it's going to boost my income probably about, I'd say almost $10,000. So I'm going to be $10,000 more than what my salary is on my deal. So I'm going to owe some money, but I want to get used to the habit of having those 3 months of like, hey, got to turn the spigot off for a little bit. Like we're going to build the account up, because it's also going to put it to where it's producing even more income. So it's kind of a booster for the year. And so this first year, since it's not a full year's worth of income that's getting factored into what I'm currently making on my W-2, I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to go ahead and run the process, and then we're just going to have some extra income. We're going to have an asset pool that's producing even more income, and it's going to be great and wonderful. The one thing that I will still be doing during those 3 months is pulling out my buys to continue to buy MicroStrategy stock, which I will be doing a deal on that, because that still is within the asset pool. And yeah, we're going to be doing that. Next up is the credit score. Now the credit score took a hit. We dropped again. We're down to 729, and that's because I messed up and put those medical bills on those cards. The ones before I realized that you could just set up the payment plan with the medical companies directly and just have them just automatically take the money in small increments at 0% interest. But we had the month where we really focused on just kind of managing it. I told everybody we're going to be in a holding pattern. The credit score is going to get hit. 729 is still better than most people's credit. And now that we're back on it, we're back to paying it. We cleared some debt that hadn't reported by the time of recording. There's a couple of cards that we zeroed out, and now we're working on the big Java, where we did the pilot for the debt pay down. So you guys know what the situation is. But I actually am thinking we're going to make some tweaks to that. We're probably not. I'm probably going to do it as is, because I think it's going to be an interesting case study. So we're going to do the debt thing in the raw, but we're going to have a conversation about that on the first official episode, which I'm also getting ready to record. But credit score went down. It's a 729. Boohoo, whatever. That really doesn't affect how I feel. I utilize my credit, so it fluctuates. So it's doing what it do. Moving on to the total save. Now the total save, this was a landmark month. So the total saved, and what I consider saved, I don't save money in cash. I do not have big bank accounts. It'll be years before I have bank accounts where the minimum balance is even up to $500. But that's because I don't believe in stagnant money. It's called currency for a reason, currents flow, and that's literally the worst place. It's almost like putting your money, instead of having it flow, you're just putting it in a pond that goes nowhere. Only thing it can do is evaporate, which generally is what it does, because your buying power, if you just keep money in the bank to say that you got a big bank account, your buying power is evaporating. So realistically, it is just putting your money in a pond that you can use less and less of it. You get less reach off that every year. So all of my money that I consider saved, I'd say 95% of it is going into the markets, getting into a position, and in most cases, a position that's going to either rapidly appreciate or make money. And those are, I think, going into 2025, I think that's going to be one of my rules. Like, it either has to be in something that's going to rapidly appreciate, or it's going to have to produce income. Like, those are going to be the two things that we're going to be doing with money coming in 2025. That's going to be the focus. Rapidly appreciate or make money. Those are going to be my things. But we set aside, this was a landmark month. This was a really good month. So the total income that came in, the total income that we were able to save, what we were able to save was $3,362. Now, like I said, I don't make over six figures. So for a regular person, that's a lot of money. I understand, like the rich people out there. I'm a brokey. I'm just working my way up. Like, it's cool. I understand. But that's a landmark for me. Like, that's a an all-time high, in my opinion, outside of the last bull run, because we were making some crazy money and reinvesting some crazy money during that bull run. It's just what it was. It was a window in time. But this is abutting something that's more sustainable. So we had couple of things that came in. We had the highest dividend payout to date that we were able to orchestrate. And it was actually it was strategic, but it was on accident strategic. So that was part of it. We got some bonus money from work. That was part of it. And yeah, so we had some extra money. And the thing that I made a point of was the bonus money didn't go towards something frivolous. The bonus money was invested. Like, that's what you do. Like, you don't lifestyle creep. Like, you keep all the things that are extra are invested. And a lot of people don't do that. And like, the way that I look at money, like, obviously I had a stellar weekend. I had a really good date. I had, went out, hung out a little bit, but it wasn't because I got bonus money. Those were things that were on the docket to get done anyway, to get some, because I'm not the person who says like eat beans and like don't go outside. Like, I'm not that guy. I go outside. I like to eat good stuff. I like to go on a date to a nice dinner. I like to go out, every once in a while, go to the club, have fun. So this, like, I look at my financial situation and I think it's more realistic, because like, if I had to gird down, I could, but at this point in my life, I'm like, I'll gird down in the sense that I will work harder. Like, well, I'll do that. Like, I would rather work harder at this point than like not have fun. Like, I'll compensate for the fun. Like, I don't see the point in that, unless it was like you got to gird down for a year or two and like that's it. And like you're girding down like the home stretch. When we get to the home stretch, you're right. You might see some months where Ray just girds down and tries to save 70% of his income for a few months, few years, or something like that towards the end of this. But I've done girded. And I don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy hanging out at home. I do enjoy going out and doing stuff and being social. So I'm not going to be the person who says don't do that. I'm going to be the person who says solve for the problem. Are you doing things that you actually want to do? When I go out, it's with people that I actually want to see. I'm going and doing things I actually want to do. If I don't want to do something, especially if it costs money, I'm like, no, like, I'm not going to get any enjoyment out of that. I'm not spending money on that. Buy things that you value. Get stuff that's important to you. Those are things that are important. Spend the money on that. Don't just be blowing money to just blow money. Which brings us to the next metric, which is income. Now, our income increased in total $2,400, which is awesome. That's a good boost from the last month. I like that. Obviously, we got bonus money. Obviously, we had the biggest dividend payout, which brings us to the last, and definitely not least, this is one that I'm really hawk-eyed on right now. The dividends. So the total dividends we brought in this month were $2,876, which is awesome. It's about $300 over what the standard is. So I know we're probably going to have a little bit of a pullback for the month of November. It depends on how much money I get into the market. Because right now, since we're attacking the debt again, I've got a bare minimum going into the investment accounts while we're tackling this debt situation. Obviously, we have our position within the income portfolio that's a reinvestment position. We have started up the second reinvestment position, but it's not kicking off over $100 a month yet. And that is the metric by which we release that to actually start being reinvested into other positions within the portfolio. But we're looking at a position that we should be getting around $400 or $500, and then the minimum off my check is $100. So like I put $100 in, to the income portfolio of W-2 income at minimum every check. But until we get these Herculean credit cards paid down, it's the one Herculean credit card. It's the daily driver. And until we get that card paid down and off, and I can, maybe pivot to a different daily driver, we'll see. We will see. But until we get that card paid off, I'm really going to be on bare minimum for everything until that card's paid off, because it's over 5 figures in debt that's actively being, it's not 0%. And so that has to be the priority. We've got to get it up out of here as quickly as possible. So we're going to be doing everything that we can. I've got a few more months till the end of the year to make some big chunks out of it, because at the beginning of the year, we're going to be just going off W-2 income, which honestly, the beginning of the year, you might see Ray not buying anything, just because during those windows, I'm going to definitely not want those balances running up, but we'll be looking at it. That's for sure. We're dialed in on it. But the dividend income that we got was $1,591 more than the previous month. So that's a vast improvement. And I'm going to factor out the $300. So it's $1,200 improvement, which is good. So the $1,200 improvement is going to be awesome. It was a good payout. And we're going to talk about it on portfolio updates on exactly what we did to facilitate that big jump. So you guys are going to definitely want to tap in for portfolio updates. That's coming up this week as well. And actually, hopefully you've tapped into portfolio updates, because technically speaking, I think this is the first Monday, and then portfolio updates is Tuesday. So that's how we're going to do it. So yeah, tap in tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. All my shows premiere at 7 a.m. I want to catch you first thing in the morning. I want to get you on your drive to work. I want to get your mind right as the day starts. I want to get you some motivation. So these metrics and these updates are the financial situation of somebody who is not making anywhere close to 6 figures yet. Now, see, next year we might be close because of our income portfolio. But as far as W-2 income, when I go to work, I do not make 6 figures. So this is somebody who doesn't have some of the self-inflicted wounds that, some of you guys may or may not have. Willing to do things a little bit counter to what the standard is for the standard American financial prescription, which has most of you begging to have loans forgiven, unable to afford life, making TikToks talking about how you can't afford to eat the way that you want to eat anymore. Some of the other things that I'm doing some stuff a little bit different, and I'd say blatantly obvious. I'd say one of the main things is I'm tracking these things. I'd say that's the first thing. If you're not tracking, if you don't know what your net worth is, you shouldn't be talking about money. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. That's step one, is identifying if there is, or how bad or how good you're doing financially. So this is my monthly financial health checkup. I do this at the end of every month. I calculate all the numbers. I look at the metrics that I'm tracking. And so far, as far as quality of life, trajectory of where I'm going, these are the metrics that I as a average brokey who's not supposed to be able to afford a house that has a house, that's not supposed to be able to pay off a car that has a car with no car note, this car's paid off, who's not supposed to be able to have, I'm apparently 3 bad months away from homelessness and destitution. And I went through 3 bad months. I had a major surgery that I have to pay for out of pocket because I'm on a high deductible plan. I had to replace a head gasket on top of that, which is a $10,000. That wasn't $10,000. That was $5,000 on top of the paying for the surgery out of pocket. I sat down on the couch for a month and a half. Went back on light duty, not full time. So all the stuff that they said that we're supposed to be scared of as average people. So we got to vote for some people that they told us to vote for, and not make informed decisions for ourselves. I've been through all of it. Like I've gone through my crucible. I'm coming out the other side of it with more money. with a better situation, with a better trajectory. So I don't know what else to say. Like, what else you got for me? Like, that's the question. Like, because I'm making an active effort. And that doesn't mean that everything's perfect. That doesn't mean that it's not harder for me than the generations that came before me. Obviously, inflation's a thing, but there are tools out there that we have at our disposal. There are opportunities for those of us who are out here still getting it out the muck and the mire. So, as we say over here in the Wolf Pack, don't complain, compete. Or complain while competing, because I'm a big complainer. I complain while I'm getting through some stuff. So, like, I ain't even going to say don't complain. What I'm going to say is start competing. Are you tracking your net worth? Do you know how much your savings percentage is every month? Do you know what your credit score is? Is your credit score improved? Are these things improving? Your monthly income. Are you figuring out a way? Because I've had to go get in that car and Uber. I've done that too for years while managing my W-2, going Ubering before work, going into work for 10 hours, Ubering after work for another 2-3 hours. You got to do what you got to do. Now, my focus is on this income portfolio because it makes more than what I'm capable of making Ubering with me doing less physical labor. I'm going to be paying the taxes either way. And honestly, the taxes from the dividend income is a little bit less than the taxes from Uber. So, like, this is a more efficient way for me to do that. And so now I'm throwing money in there. I'm like, I'd rather just pay them to get some people out here working for me. Get me some employees. That's the way I look at that portfolio. But I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you guys are gleaning a little bit of inspiration, some insight and understanding. You know, I'm sharing my situation. Let's have a conversation about it down in the comments where you can share your guys' situation. Like, we can talk about this. Because it's important. That's the other thing. Are you having these conversations? Are you making sure to, like, keep this at the front of your mind, because it'll affect the way that you do everything else? Because me personally, when it comes to a large purchase, I'm like, I almost want to take that money and put it in the dividend account, my income account, and then buy it out of the income account at this point, as opposed to just going, yeah, I'm just going to go purchase this whatever and then deal with it that way. So, you know, it changes the perspective on how we're doing things as we start working our way through these processes and the way that we think about stuff. Because I'm like, yo, like, if I can go take $1,400, get a new TV, but I take the $1,400 and put it in my brokerage account, in my income portfolio specifically, and now that it's producing some money, I'm like, cool. Next month, I'll buy it then. I'll wait a few weeks, but I'm going to go take this money. I'm going to go dump it in my account right now. And we're going to go ahead and just build up our position that's paying off debt. And we'll just go ahead and throw it in there. And we'll just take a little bit of that out, because over 10 months, it'll pay itself back. And I'm still paying for it in cash, but it's not my cash. Like, it's not straightforward cash. So it's just something to think about. Let's talk about it down in the comments. We'll be doing this the first Monday of every month. We got the financial updates. First Tuesday of every month, we'll be doing the portfolio updates, which will be a follow-up to the financial updates. So you got 2 in a row there. And then obviously Wednesday, you'll have crypto portfolio updates for the general public. Thursday, we're going to have future financial strategies, where it's just whatever the topic is of the day. You guys will get a little taste of my thoughts on something, and we'll talk about it, have the conversation down in the comments. And then Friday, first Friday of every month, we'll do Bag Fortification Friday with the Debt Crusher update for the month prior. So, like, that's what it's going to look like. The first week of every month is going to be a busy month over here on Future Financial Strategy. You're going to get hit every day with a good piece of content, man. Every day. You're going to have a whole week of dealing with, reckless rate and narrow in your head, in your ear, in your mind, trying to get your mind right as we wrap our brains around these finances. And then they'll go back to the regular schedule of Wednesday and Thursday until the next month. You got 3 weeks. You get a 3-week breather. And then the next month, we're going to be coming back in, hitting it. It's going to be great. It's your boy, Reckless Rate and Arrow. And until next time, Peace.
Money on my mind, yeah. Focus, got no time for games, nah. I don't play, man, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.